We know that.
Let's name
the aorta. Well, he said
which
it's
one do you
partially
it is.
like cut off.
So here. Let's get somebody else's handout like that one that is open to the page of the heart.
Mine's open to the page of the heart.
Okay, yeah, that one he's got. Let's do that one that you've got. That one. This one's good. Okay, so see that aorta should have, it's a huge structure at the top that goes like this, and it has arteries coming off, but they've lopped it off. Okay. Superior and inferior vena cava. Well, you can't even hardly, it's like hidden. It's a mystery. You can't hardly even find it. And it's turned real funky. And you gotta go like this. Okay?
Really?
This, okay, so it had a huge tube coming in from the head, and it had a huge tube coming in from the rest of the body, and they both pour in this right atria, okay? So this flap is the right atria, but some of it goes down into here, okay, also. But you can put your finger in that. But that superior and inferior vena cava, as soon as they lop it off, it had so much tension on it that it kind of flips on its side, and it was in the body like this, okay? Right and left atria, that's both of these chambers. There's right, there's left. So this pulmonary trunk right here, that's the front of the heart, okay? This mangled mess is always the back. So the atria, there's left, and up in here is right. When I ask those on a test, I'll have to cut the heart a lot more, way up in there. Right and left ventricles, this is the right, this is the left. Notice how different the walls are. The right ventricle only has to pump blood just to the heart. So it's got a thin, tiny wall because it doesn't have to be very strong. But the left ventricle has a huge wall on both sides because that's pumping blood to the whole rest of the body. Okay. Semilunar valves, that's one of the hardest things in this whole of the two semilunar valves. Okay, so the left ventricle is pumping to the body through the aorta, and there, if this was all, there's a tube, and that's the aorta, so it kind of shoots up here. Can y'all see those flaps right here? If you touch up in there, if you come through the aorta, you can feel them. Do y'all all have gloves? Go down in the aorta and feel about 1.5 inches through there. You can feel those little flaps that are loose, okay? So that's the aortic semilunar valves. Sweetie, you want to touch them? Okay, now the pulmonary, so when it leaves the right ventricle, there is like a tube. There's a tube that inside the heart that leaves the right ventricle and turns into the pulmonary artery or pulmonary trunk, and it is hard to find. It kind of drives me crazy. You have to come, you think you're kind of up in the ventricle, the atria, but you're not. You like leave the atria and come forward to the front of the heart, and there's a tube up there in the front, and my finger is right at the end of that. I want y'all all to put your finger kind of right there, and you can feel those, and touch my finger, and you've gone there. Okay? Can you see at the very end? You can feel them. They're flaps. Okay, sweet.
What is it?
Those are the pulmonary semilunar valves. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. We found those. Okay, those right and left atrioventricular valves are just right here. They're the ones that separate the atrium from the ventricle, and they're the ones that have that chordae tendineae, and they're easy to remember because look, so think atria and ventricle, they smushed those words together and combined them. And this is the right side of the heart, and this is the left side of the heart, so it should be easy. This is the left atrioventricular valve, okay? And this is the right one, right there. Chordae tendineae is the stringy stuff, okay, that's on those right and left atrioventricular valves. Papillary muscles are these things like this on the walls inside. See all those right there, those lines that almost are like columns. They remind me of inside of a cave. I don't know, like stalactites or what are all, is that what? Yeah. Apex, that's just right here, okay? And
What were
then
these again?
the semilunar, that's those ones that are hard to find.
Before we touched your finger.
Okay.
That's, so right from the left ventricle right up here, there's those right there, those flaps.
Okay.
And then when you,
in the middle.
and when you go down that pulmonary trunk and way up in here and your fingers meet, it's
So
right
then
there.
what were these?
Well, okay, so here it leaves the right ventricle and comes up through the pulmonary trunk, or this is called either the pulmonary trunk or pulmonary artery, and it comes up and there are arteries that go off to the lungs. See, like right here, and it kind of wraps to the back, but those are lopped off. At the slaughterhouse, they chopped them off. Every once in a while, I'll pull out a heart that still has some of those remnants and has a cool aorta left. Pulmonary veins, they've been lopped off the back too. If I ask them, I'll have to ask them on a diagram or maybe that model down there.
Okay.
And the septum, did we do the septum? This is the septum that separates the right half from the left half, okay? Interventricular septum. So it's mostly down here between the ventricles, okay? Did we get everything? Okay. Y'all stay.